I mean, I don't know why we can't join in a third party. Joe's just looked here and it said it's not joining in. I only did it once, Sandy, because what happened was I was doing I think it was me and Pam, and then Dustin said, could he come in? And we added him in, and we thought, oh, this is good. She even logged out and back in again. We thought, this is good. We can have where they get 4 from, I don't know. We can have 3 people, and it's never worked since. I mean, I'm not sure whether you're really sort of like surprised because it's Instagram.
That's true.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sophie. We did have Sophie. I can either have Sophie and not you, or you and not Sophie. Isn't that ridiculous, though, Sandy?
Yeah, we're supposed to be able to have 4.
I know. I thought that was an ask too far. I knew we wouldn't ever be able to have 4.
Well, I guess we can talk a minute, and then I can get off, and you can talk to Sophie.
Right, everybody, and I'll edit it afterwards anyway, Sandy. So I chopped the bits off the front, of us getting in, if we still have anybody by that time. Right, everybody, this is Sandy, and Sandy is one of our admins, and Sandy is the sort of boss of the groups, as well as answering on messages on Facebook, answering on messages on Instagram, keeping everybody right, and basically, like all of us, working from morning till night on here, don't we, Sandy?
It can be rough some days.
So some days we have lovely days. This morning I was really surprised because when Kathy came in, I said to her, I don't like to say anything, but this morning everybody was nice on the morning. And everybody was kind. And everybody was saying things like, oh, thank you very much. And I'm thinking, because as you know, we always say there's something in the water because everybody's awful.
Yesterday we had an awful day. But this morning wasn't too bad. But you might have jinxed it for Kathy.
I think I probably did. I mean, everybody, it gets to the stage where we daren't say, oh, everything's going well. Because if you do, it won't. So, Sandy, talk a bit about what you do.
Let me just kind of give you some background. About 4.5 years ago, maybe 5 years ago now, I had this really nice looking military man contact me and start talking. And this was way before I knew about romance scams. And so he ended up taking me over to Hangouts, and his Instagram account disappeared, and so did his Facebook. Now I know why. And, he sweet talked, but like within 2 or 3 days, he did take a little bit longer. I think it was the 3rd day he come back on and he said, I missed you. And I thought, well, you don't know me well enough to miss me. And, that should have just stopped it right then and there. But, we continued to talk, and it probably took him maybe 2.5 to 3 weeks before he asked for money. And what I had said is, I've got to go to town shopping to get my groceries. And he said, well, can you pick me up an iTunes card? And I was like, what for? Well, I need it for data on my phone.
Yeah.
So anyway, I did keep him talking, and I started researching at that point. And ran across, like the military information, came across a few anti-scam pages, and finally I just ended up blocking him. But before I did block him, he did reveal himself. I mean, he's a little 5'1" little tiny thing, and I'm 5'8", so that would not make a good couple. And
You know, when they reveal themselves and you see the face, you can understand why they need to steal pictures, because they'd never get anything
no,
as
they
themselves.
couldn't. I mean, there is beauty in everybody, but when you've got the evil behind them, that is what makes them not so beautiful. So anyway, I kept doing research, and I finally came across ScamHaters United and learned a lot, in messages when I was talking to whoever was there, and started sending in fake accounts. And I mean a lot of fake accounts, and not just with photos of the ones used on me. I started finding a lot of others. And so I guess this went on for a couple of months, and next thing I know, I'm asked if I want to join them. So I thought about it, and it was an honor to be asked. I should have took it back.
You could have done, yeah, because you did say yes, and you did say yes quite quickly, really, without knowing a lot of what we were letting you in for.
But I learned real fast. That is one thing I like to research. I pay attention to what's going on. Like I started finding out all about these scams, and I started watching videos, and but ScamHaters is my first love. It takes up most of my time.
It does, and as everybody always says to me, why do you do it? And we do it because we know
about it, and we do try to make a dent. But if you can just help one person, it's worth it. And I don't know how many I have helped, but I've been doing this it's been almost 4.5 years.
It's been, I wouldn't have known that. I was trying to work it out.
It's been about 4.5 years. So I have learned a lot, and I love each and every one of the ladies that volunteer. They are a wonderful group of ladies, including me, of course. And I'm more familiar with Facebook than Instagram. But I do jump over on Instagram when I get a minute from Facebook, which isn't very often anymore. I kind of take care of the groups. We have SHU for You, and a lot of people join. We have over 4,000 members now. And so it keeps pretty busy, and all of the admins and mods keep an eye on that group. We all do. But it seems like, I guess Ruth called me the gatekeeper one time. And so I go through each and every single profile before it is even let into the group. If I have questions on it, then I ask the others.
But the thing is that gets me, Sandy, is people will, we will say to people, and, Sophie can't see the live now. So
yes, it did.
That happened to you, though. She'll have to come out and come back. That's really weird. We say, and I stand by, that we don't have scammers in our group. Now, people will say, oh, how do you know there's scammers in every group? Because we check. I mean, as we say, Sandy goes through them, and as far as she can see, there aren't any scammers coming in, and we get them.
Yes, we do. We at least get 2 or 3 per day. There's been days we've got a lot more, and it's not just actual scammers wanting in. There are a lot of fake accounts wanting in. So that's why I'm pretty thorough about looking through the profiles. I mean, I check all the posts. I check who's liking the posts. I look in the about sections and see if I can see anything there. I look at followers, if there are followers that we cannot see.
I've restricted him, Michelle.
Oh,
Sorry, it's
okay.
just our little troll.
If there's followers we cannot see, I go ahead and decline, but I send them a message saying, please change your settings so that only friends can follow you.
Yeah.
And if they've done that and they come back, then they're let in. But we do watch that group very carefully. There are people in there that don't pay attention to what we say. They continue to talk to the scammers, or they pick up new men that they're going to ask about, which if they're on a dating site, I understand that.
Yeah. Well, on a dating site, they're looking for strangers. Let's face it, that's what a dating site. So we can sort of forgive those. But then, you'll have, oh, I've been talking to this one for a month on Facebook. And we think, not again. And Sandy often says, well, anybody that's military is going to be fake. Yes, but this one's nice. Do you think you could check him?
They're all nice. They want your money.
I mean, they're not going to be awful. They're con men. They're scammers.
Yeah, they're going to be nice up to a point. And that point is when you say no. Once you say no,
absolutely.
Then they start showing their true colors. They'll start blackmailing you. They'll start trying to get at you through other ways, other types of scams. Of course, your information is sold, photos, name, address, birthdays, kids, family photos. I mean, everything is sold. They make money off everything.
A scammer never gets nothing. And it could, how many times, Sandy, do we get a profile and it's got some really, nice pictures of kids in, or a nice picture of some dogs or cats in, and we know they've taken that from the previous victim.
And I even in the group, those that talk to scammers, if they do not want to stop, we ask them to step away from the group. When they're done, they're welcome to come back in, but they need to go by the no scammer rule.
Because we've got to be careful, because the reason we have that group is to chat and to get educated and know. But one of the reasons is, if you have been involved in a scam and you feel that there's nobody at all to talk to, you can go into that group with no judgment, with no criticism, because you can tell what's happened to you and nobody's going to come back and say, well, that's stupid. So many people in that group had the same thing happen. So it's a space. We made it as a safe
we have that group private for a reason. And the reason is a lot of people do not tell their family and friends what has happened because they don't want them to judge them. So this group is a place that is safe. Most people have gone through similar experiences, so you can talk about it. You can compare notes. We've also just started a program for the mentors. We have a group of people that have been pre-approved. And if by some strange chance you don't feel like talking in the group and you need more privacy, if you just want somebody to listen or a friend, these people are pre-approved by us to talk to the members privately and see if they can't, help them get their lives back in order.
It is, because sometimes that is just all they need. They need to talk, and they need to be assured that they're not stupid, and it happens to lots of other people. And when you're a victim of a scam, somebody's done something bad to you. You haven't done it to yourself.
Now,
so some people just need to be told that.
And everybody makes mistakes. We're all human. I made the mistake too. Most of the admins and mods have made that mistake. And the first time's a mistake, but when you go in our group and you start learning, you pick it up the second time, we'll forgive you. But if you continue to go on and on and on and not learn a thing from the group, step away. We don't want somebody that's going to be doing that and then coming back and bragging, well, I got my scammer to confess. I mean,
yeah, He's fallen in love with me.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like that. It's a trophy. You know, I got my scammer to confess. Look at me, you know.
It is, isn't it? They wear it with, like, you know, it's like with pride. Oh, look what I did. But that is, a scammer likes to confess, because as soon as he confesses in his head, he's not your scammer.
Right.
He's your friend. And so you allowing him to confess, you're just making it nice for him.
But then that just starts part two. You know, a secondary scam after a scam. And even after that, there's a third scam, you know, the recovery scam. There are so many scams, and we try to post so much information in that group, hoping people will read it or listen to it. And also, you know, if they have questions, talk to the mentors, talk to the admins, talk to the mods, come to messages on Facebook or Instagram. We are here to help. And our main purpose to help you is to stay away from scammers. Yes, you've made that mistake. Let's see if we can't get you away and keep you away.
It's sort of like, as well, I look at it that I think it's like reducing, because if you have been through this and you've had a really horrendous time with your scammer, and you have nobody at all to unload to, or even just be part of something, you know, the trauma's going to build up. And it's so much better to be able to unload and talk to somebody about it.
You're right.
Again,
I have learned that there are not a lot of professionals that are trained to deal with romance scam victims. You know, it's similar to in a relationship with a narcissist, but you know, that narcissist has been right in front of you, and you have dealt with them face to face. You know, you're always going to wonder, oh, well, who can I talk to? Yes, in the group. And I honestly, I mean, I'll just tell you right up front, I see a counselor, but it's for other reasons. And the last few visits I've had with her, I have talked to her about maybe professionals getting, even if it's just a 6-week training, to train on that, because there are so many victims worldwide, and not just in the US, it's everywhere. So if anybody is talking to a counselor, maybe suggest that they look into romance scams. Because I honestly think, you know, sometimes face-to-face therapy is the best. You know, going directly to it.
And what gets me, Sandy, is there are so many scams, and yet for there to be so few counsellors about, I think is I was surprised, actually. You know, the number of people that come back to us and said, I've been to this counsellor, she's not, or he's not trained in scams. And I thought, well, it should be, even if it's just, as you said, a little part of what they do, because so much of it, and it is incredibly traumatic. And yes, Rebecca, you know, sensitivity training. Yeah. Hey, Rebecca, I need that. I know.
I think sometimes I need it too.
I was a little hard cop on somebody yesterday, so I got into trouble. But yeah, and although we've never ever, right from the beginning, because at the beginning, a certain other group, I'm not mentioning the names, but if you cut yourself, you get a scar, you know, but that one. A certain other group said that we were bad for offering counselling, and when we weren't trained counsellors. Now, I've always been very, very precise on saying we're not offering counselling. We are offering and a non-judgmental place to be, where it's private, and that's very, very different. I mean, there's nobody better to talk to than somebody who's been through it, because they're not going to judge, and that's what we need. We need. I mean, yes, we do need the counselling. We really, really do. But I think if the best that we can do is to offer a non-judgmental, safe place, then
yes,
it's a good start, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I will say some of the people in that group are fantastic. They come in new, all gung ho, they learn, and then they start helping others in the group or new ones that come. So like recycling everybody.
Remember the last group we had right at the end when we dissolved it? Can you remember we had that lady who was talking to people for ages, and in the end she came out with, and we were all stunned, oh, I've told him about this and he knows his pictures are being stolen. And she was in a scam, a long scam with a Canon Richard. And it worked out that she was telling it, he was saying to her, oh, I'm really interested in your group. Who else is in there? And she was actually telling him the other members of the group. And this is why we are so careful of the people that we get in. Because, if we do have to move people out, we will for a while. Because she thought she was actually making people feel better, saying, well, I'm going through this, but he's right.
I don't know. One of the reasons we have our rules in place is for the safety of our members and, for the safety of the group. And so, that big one, no talking to scammers. How many people have we had in there that have had their accounts hacked that we've had to take out?
Sandy, how many times have we gone and we've maybe had them in Messenger or something like that, and then we all come on and we say, oh, well, we're talking to so-and-so, and we've got a message off them this morning. Have you heard about the grant? And it's happened many times,
and we get them out as quickly as we see it.
But it's never going to happen to them.
That's Sandy. True. I've heard that so many times. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, but it does happen. So, unfortunately, we have to deal with it. But I think both of those little groups are excellent.
They are.
I really do.
We have our friendship group. It has nothing to do with scams.
Nothing at all. Everything. You can talk about everything under the sun.
There's people that prepare food and show it. There's a lot of jokes going on in there. A lot of comments, videos, and I love that group too. And yes, we keep that group safe as well. We look at everybody. But yeah, that group, we do not talk about scams.
Because some people, it was started because people come to us and say, but I was lonely, I had nobody to talk to. So we thought, we'll have a little group where you can talk about anything but scams. And, we get some great jokes, we get some great memes, as Rebecca's just said that. We laugh in that group because it's everything. You can go in there and just have a little smile, have a little, and it lifts you. And we wanted a place that was a bit lighthearted, because sometimes it can get a bit heavy in the other one. And it
does.
Works,
it's been interesting when people post pictures of where they're from, or tourist attractions in their area. Especially the food. I love the food. I would love to taste some of it.
Puts in the most wonderful recipes. I'm not going to say anything because I don't know whether she'd want me to, but she puts in the most wonderful recipes,
when
doesn't
she posts photos of them, the food's so well presented. Honestly, I wonder if she's a chef.
No, it's professional the way she does it. And silly things like pets, because everybody wants to talk about the pets. Even I post this here, who's stood looking at me now. And everybody does. And you say something like, right, let's see what everybody's pet is. and you get
And
people
they're
straight
not
there.
worried about their information getting to the scammers, so the scammers can try and guess their passwords. I mean, that's kind of the point of that group too. They're lonely, one place to have fun, and the answers or comments they get are not going to go to anybody that is going to be able to guess their email, their password, their phone number, anything like that. So we have the serious group and the fun group.
Yes, and they're very, very different, but they're great, you know, and it's just nice to have so many people in that. You know, I often think if we, you know, because we get Nigerians wanting to be in all the time, I often get one in because those ladies would rip them apart.
I've thought about that before. Let them in and let the ladies just have a go.
Yeah. Yeah, and we know we get them that, oh, you know, we want to help you catch the scammers. We will help you and give you information about how you can notice scammers. Well, Pet, we can probably tell you a lot, even if you are Nigerian. So no, we actually don't want any help from
that is true.
Nigerians.
And Nigerians do not need our help either. They, you continue to talk to them, even though you know they're a scammer. If they post something, you know, comment that's off or is not correct, people correct them. So then they correct their mistake and they are better for the next several, you know, from then on that point. So.
As Michelle last night, you know, I was talking to one, well, I wasn't talking to one, you know, they get 3 minutes off me if they're lucky. And I was insulting one the other night, and I have Royal Navy on mine. And he said something about he wants a real Navy broad. Well, you know, I think probably the last time I heard that was Frank Sinatra in one of his black and white films, you know. Does anybody actually say Navy broad? No.
Right.
But he picked it up from somebody. That is the thing. He was repeating. Now, I had a good laugh at it, but he was repeating information that he got from some.
You know, people say, well, he hasn't asked for money. The scam does not start when they ask for money. It starts the minute you respond. They've got their little notebooks or their extra computer or whatever. They are taking notes on everything you say. They're asking targeted questions so that they know how far they can take the scam. They learn your address, your birthday, even your birth year, just by asking targeted questions. I mean, you know, the main one, are you married? And if you say yes, it doesn't matter. They'll still try.
Oh yeah, I mean, they love breaking up a marriage.
Oh, a lot.
How many of those do we get?
Which is a lot more than we really need to have. One is too many, but yeah, they don't care, but they are taking notes the minute you say hello.
A girl this morning on messages came and she asked about the person she was talking to. She didn't really want to know. She was fighting me that, well, he hasn't done this, he hasn't said that. So he had, you know, she'd been talking to him for 4 months and he hadn't asked for money. So he had to be real. But he was a soldier in Chad, I think it was. And I said, you know, what have you been talking about? Has he mentioned coming home? Well, yes, he was going to have some R&R, so he wanted to know which was the military base near me so he can come to. It doesn't work like that. But it transpired that he hadn't had anything from her at all, only her name, address and date of birth to register for him to come home to her. And I said,
they can enter that in Truth Finder, something similar. Some of those deep dive reports will pull up your social security number if you're in the U.S., even your driver's license number. And they can pay for it because they are making money. You know,
it's what, $20 or something like that, and then, you know, the money they're making, they can afford to spend.
That's right. They can afford the dating sites. because, you know, they are making money. So yes, they're going to go on the free ones and the paid ones. There are no good dating sites. There's just safety.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we were asked that a lot, aren't we?
But
it's awful sometimes when you've got to say, well, actually, there isn't a good dating site. We're quite happy. You know, if anybody goes on a dating site and they meet somebody, we are quite happy, in fact, ecstatic, to have people come to us and we will check on them.
And I mean, you know, if the person's real, they are, you do make a relationship, that is great. I would love to see that too. But most of the time, 99% of the time, maybe even 99.9% of the time.
We had that lovely lady who met the Brooklyn painter and decorator. And he was so ordinary, she was suspicious. And I couldn't find him anywhere. And I said, do a video chat. So they'd had a 20-minute video chat. And she said, I think he's real. And at 20 minutes, I think he is. And she came back a little while later and she said, I've been to meet him. And he's only little, but he's lovely. He's really nice. And then she came back a few months later. I think she was on my Messenger by this time. She came back a few months later. She said, he's really nice and we are staying together and he's decorated my apartment for me.
Yeah, it would be great if we could see more of those, but it is just not safe to do it. You have to watch every little thing. You know, everybody has the right to post what they want on social media. Everybody. It doesn't matter who it is. But because of the scammers, we have all had to change in order to keep ourselves safe. There are people that have businesses that cannot make their accounts private, but they have to post stuff due to their businesses.
And that's what social media is all about. If you make yourself a page or, you know, anything that, you know, like what we've got, Sandy, how many times do we get, do you want to advertise?
Right.
Do you want to tag, as soon as, do you want to tag your products into this post? Do you want to advertise? Do you want to promote? I mean, Facebook and Instagram pages are set up for people who want to sell things. So that's not keeping it private. That they are set up to be public, to sell things. So people have the right to do that.
But scammers do not have the right to steal photos.
No. No. And it's awful that you can't go on because some Nigerian might come along and steal your photos. And how many of the men have gone on and removed pictures that they were very proud of?
You know, I am seeing that more and more. You know, somebody that had 100 posts is down to, you know, 3 or 4. It's all because the scammers stealing their photos. But even if they do delete all those photos, they're out there. They can be looked up anywhere just by Googling.
Yeah, it's really, it's awful. And I think one thing that people don't realize that we do is what they're dealing with. I think people don't realize, we can say it's a scammer. They don't have, Logan removed all of his. I think Coco Yeats has taken off a load of his kids once. Yeah, and the thing is, people don't realize what they're talking to. A scammer, it's like a blob that's there. They're not quite sure who it is, what it is. They know it's not the man in the pictures, but they can't put what it actually is that they've been talking to. Now, one thing that, Josh Porter had to remove the ones at Western Lake because they were taking them, which is awful, absolutely awful. I hate them using, you know, the deceased men. But you know, you've got these people. And they just think it's their world. They can take anything they want to at all and use them. And the thing is, because we've got a very small group called Warners, and so we often get the anger. of the scammer, and that shows you a lot. You learn a lot
You
in that
do.
group,
And
Sandy.
I guess we should explain that group. It's just a small group of us, what, 10, 15 of us. And if we see a profile that has open comments and we know that profile is fake, we are going to post warnings in that profile. Yes.
And it works. It works.
Yes,
really.
it does.
We will
And
see it.
yeah, the scammers don't like that. We do get threatened. and sometimes too, you can post a meme there that, and now, hello pretty, in your messenger, and it's like they're still trying, no matter knowing that we're warning other people. Also, if we see potential,
I like the ones, I think it's Austin Scott Miller, who will come on and say, hello Sophie, you again.
Yeah, they know.
They even know Sophie very well, yes. But yeah, and Rebecca the goats. It's a maybe a private insult joke, the goats, but they don't like goats. I wonder why. But yeah, and I often think, you know, people say, well, I talk to scammers to learn about them, to get other things. You want to insult them, don't talk to them, insult them, because that's when you find out the sort of people you're talking to.
It is.
Completely.
Yeah, we do get a lot of the mean ones, but we've got some special private memes for them.
We do. And also they attack thinking that we're going to be scared of them.
And how many times have we put a curse on them and they block us immediately? Yes.
We've got a hack code, and we've got this little message that we put into their accounts, and it's you know, this is an AI Facebook hack code. Once the AI system finds this code, and then a great long list of nothing, you know, it will delete your account. Of course, it means nothing at all, but they're into hacking and things like that, so they believe it, and we can take it. So then they believe that we've hacked them and taken them down.
Kind of fun.
It is. It is. It means that we win, which we sort of do often. But it's interesting what we do, Sandy.
I guess the thing I am known for in that article in the Daily Beast is I do a lot of the reverse image searches, and I find a lot of the real people, actually. But you can reverse image search anything, including dick pics.
Yeah. I didn't even know you could reverse image search them. I would have thought it would have come up with sort of like, you know, this is not allowed or something like that, but you do it.
Most of the time they're on Twitter or porn sites. But, you know, I kind of did it just on an off chance that it might work when I did it the first time. And it's like, holy heck, it led to a Twitter account. And, you know, of course, nobody's face is in these. Most of them, sometimes they add a face. But most of the time, it's just, you know, the lower part of the body. And you can reverse image search that. And I have gotten several people out of scams with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you've proved that, well, you know, I mean, I often say that really you've got to look at other parts of the picture, and I don't think they do. But they've been able to see that, well, they picked these pictures up from somewhere on the internet, which you wouldn't think. I mean, how many people do come to us and say, oh, you know, he sent me a dick pic. Well, yeah, that's fine, but what did you send him in return?
And yeah, here's another thing. The dick pics are trophies to some people, and they're not. I don't like to look at male junk. I really don't. I don't like to look at female either. But it's kind of a necessity anymore because there are so many intimate photos floating around out there. And so, yeah, a lot of reverse image search. Yandex.com is probably the best one for the dick pics if you want to do a search on your own. You know, for the face, we use PimEyes. And if that doesn't work, then I try Yandex. If that doesn't work, then I try Google. I try several different ones, not just one. Again, it's research.
And sometimes I've found with Yandex, you can look at it and you find nothing. And then you look for something else and you go and you think, oh, and you just, you know, you do, don't you? You go back and try the same ones again, and then the next search that they do, they bring it up.
I have seen that too. I guess if you look in the photo albums on our Facebook page, no, there's no dick pics.
There's no dick pics.
But we get a lot of the Photoshop photos, and I make it a mission to find the originals. And so you'll see the Photoshop versus the original, and I put them side by side, and I've got a photo album on the page that I put them in, and I have like 130 photos in there, maybe more.
Yeah, because I was thinking that, you know, in January we'll just start it all again. Rather than keep doing it, we'll do it like a yearly thing, so that in January you can start with 2023's, you know, Photoshop. I mean, some of the Photoshops are good.
We love the awful ones. Those are fun to laugh at.
Lying all dramatic in bed with this little smiley face on the top. Yeah. But you know, I find the awful ones are useful because we can show them how badly they've tried to convince them. You know, and sometimes, I mean, sometimes the Photoshop is so bad it's what's got the lady out of the scam.
That's true. Richard Terry, oh my gosh, he's got his head on so many bodies. It is crazy.
I think there was about 4 of original of Richard Terry. There was a 4 and a video. And whenever you see him, he's got the same expression on his face, and it's the same with Walter, the little German man. And he was the same. There's maybe half a dozen, not even a video. No, there was one video of Walter sat at a computer. And, you know, it's like they put them on so many pictures that they don't really, well, there's an unlimited amount. I mean, they've been doctors, they've been generals.
That is true. I guess. Oh, I was trying to think of the funniest one that I've seen. Oh, I know. It wasn't, it was funny, and it was really bad Photoshop, but I finally found the photo, and the original photo was from a news article in 1971. So, I mean, these scammers will use any photos they can find.
Yeah, they will. And, you know, some work, some don't. But another thing, Sandy, before we finish, a thing that really gets to me, and I don't know how to put this over, but we're going to have to. I'm going to have to work on this. They all say, oh, I only do it because we're poor. I only do it because we have to put food on the table. Or mothers in hospital waiting to pay the... I don't know how many mothers are in hospital in Nigeria waiting for a, you know, a son to scam to pay the bill. But we know about, and I hope I can get Sophie on as well, we know about the people who Photoshop, the ones who do the fake websites, the ones who do the fake emails for the package scams. Those tracking websites for the package scams are very good. The whole industry behind them. And it's not a case of a little boy who's managed to get himself a laptop, who's sat in his bedroom typing away, making $50 to put food on the table. This is a massive industry. It really is.
And, you know, in the US, it was almost 400 million last year. And then in Canada, I read a statistic on them too, but if you add it up, it's over 450 million between Canada and the US. Now think about the rest of the world. These scammers are not poor.
Yeah.
In fact, they throw money around.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you think of the amount of money that comes through us,
right,
and we're just a small concern. We'll have probably 35 million reported to us by the end of the year. And that's just with us. And as you know, we've got every country. We've got Burma, we've got Nepal, we've got every little country, every big country, and they're all getting a lot of money. So, but it's the back room. It's the whole industry behind it. It's the whole setup.
It's not just a scammer hiding behind a photo. It is several different entities. You know, the scammer to get the ID and anything to fit their story to get money from you.
Yeah, there's a whole industry behind it. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of people there. You know, this is why I'm hoping we can get Sophie on, the oldest Yahoo boy in America, but I'll let her explain that. But you can hire a blackmailer. If you're not getting enough money out of your client, you can hire a blackmailer who is a bit tougher than you, who will come blackmail your client. Percentage. I
mean, if anybody wants to look, just go into the public Yahoo Boys groups and look and see what they do. And that, again, research. It's always research. And I cannot emphasize on that point enough. Always research it. And we are here to help. And we can do some of the research for you. But we also want you to learn to do it yourself as well.
Yeah. Because, you know, you can help other people. You're not going to fall victim again. The more you learn yourself, the more you are not going to fall victim again. The more that you can help other people. And I think the more that you learn, I think makes you want to come out and
I think it does too. And honestly, I love some of the publicity we've been getting lately. You know, from some news articles and stuff, and there's, you know, a few other things in the works. There's, you know, been podcasts and of course our live chats to try and get information out there. But there's a lot of publicity on this lately because it is such a huge crime. And that's what they are. They are criminals.
Yeah. The best one I got was for a work in Turkey. There's loads in Turkey. And was robbed at the airport. He lost everything except his passport and his phone. Oh, Sandy's gone. Okay. Bye, Sandy. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out. I'm not quite sure what happened to Sandy there. I think she pressed a button. But yeah, I'm going to come out and I'm going to have a little word and I'm going to see if I can get Sophie because she's really interesting too. So thank you very much, Sandy. You left a bit quick. But yeah, so bear with me and I'm going to come out and I'm going to come back in again. So give me 3 or 4 minutes and come back. Oh, she's come back. She should be coming back now. What happened to you?
I don't know. It's my thumb slid across the screen and it knocked it over into another screen and I had to go back out and come back in.
I don't, if I miss something at the bottom of the comments, I don't scroll up. Because if you just press the screen that little bit too hard,
in fact, that's exactly what I did because I was trying to read some of the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just can't.
So, yeah, everybody, if you need help, come and talk to us. That is what we are here for. We want to get you away from the scammer. We want you to learn to do your research, and we want you to be safe.
I think knowledge is power. And I think we hear, we hear back from as Sandy did when Sandy used to send us fake accounts after she experienced. Sandy used to send us fake accounts, and it's like I don't know whether Mary Anthony Bolton's still on here. It's like many people do, and they will first of all see the person who was used to scam them. They will see the Mary. Yeah,
Mary.
hello, Mary. I'm going to talk about you. Mary, honestly, she's a fiend. You have never known a woman of her age. I'm not going to tell you how old she is. You have never known a woman who can find so many fakes. Mary once said to me, "Is it all right if I send you a few fakes in your messenger?" Oh, yes, I said, Mary, that's absolutely fine. You should see it. It's hundreds. Like it never ends. It really is. And I always say that the people that we know and are associated with us, we have the strangest hobbies. And Mary is hunter fiend. Tell you what, she never misses a trick, does she?
Yes, it is. It's hundreds. And we don't have a lot of people that send in hundreds, but we have a lot that send in enough that we, send in thousands. Thousands a week. So
I worked it out, Sandy, that we're on about in the emails around 780,000 for the year. But that's not including what's gone in the Mary, that's her down there. Themed is scammers beware when she's around. And that's not including what's gone in the form.
Sometimes that's 10% a day, and sometimes it's 60, 70, 80, depending on whether it's Facebook or Instagram. I don't know what, there's a glitch in there somewhere.
Yeah, they deny it, but we know there is. But yeah, so that 780,000 is not including what's gone in the form. We've got to be over a million.
I would almost say almost double that.
Yeah, you remember when Ryan left, and how long did we have Ryan? 4 years, and he gave us a nice little glowing report to go on to the next person, and with Ryan we closed 7.4 million.
That was a lot.
We didn't have the form then, so we knew exactly how many. So that was a completely different time. 7.4 million. Well,
maybe
Ryan.
We'll get back up to that number with our new team.
Yes, we might. Yeah, I think it was about 40. I mean, yeah, it was great with Ryan. But there again, you see, if it was that much with him, it's going to be the same or more now. It's just with having the form, we haven't got the numbers, that we used to have. We can't work out the exact numbers. But yeah, we have a system, and I will explain our system, Sandy, where we have a form. There's a few of us. Sophie's got it. I know Mel, I really do. Sandy's got it. I've got it. Pam's got it. Michelle's got it. And it's a form. In its basic form, we've got it attached to our Facebook accounts. And we can put in Facebook profiles, Instagram profiles, and pages. Don't work that good on pages, but we can put them in. That goes straight into Facebook systems. We have the power. That goes straight into Facebook systems. And it will take 50% of them straight away. The rest, I put on an email Monday to Friday, and it goes off to a contact in Facebook who is a human, I think. I think he is anyway. Yeah, who is a human. And so I don't care what people say, oh, you can't get things taken down. We can. If you want to test us. Yeah. There's absolutely no reason to say we can if we can't. And we can prove we can. So, there's Rebecca knows, and Michelle's got the form. So yeah, let's upset scammers. I know that they are going to just make more I mean, Sandy will
That's
take
true.
one down and they make 5. But it's
It
nice to
is,
upset
especially
them.
when we can get 400 or 500 pages in a day taken down. That's just pages, not profiles. That's just pages. And the pages are the big ones. They're the ones that take a little bit longer to make. And yes, they are harder for us to get down, but we can still get it done. And so we turn in from over the weekend. I mean, pages themselves could be up to 1,000 or more. And to have them taken down on Monday, I would love to be a fly on the wall in some of these places to watch their faces.
Well, you know, like they're all in the same room and they've got to, you know, they're going to lose their 50 pages
Right.
that they've made in that room. So it's very satisfying.
Yes, it is.
Really,
it is.
Isn't it? So, you know, we do what we can. Okay, we're not going to stop scams. I'd love it. And as I'm fond of saying, when I first started this, I thought, oh, I know about this. United, not a throwaway word, united in this country is usually a sports team. So I thought, the team, we've got a great team together, brilliant team together. You know, we haven't stopped scams yet, but we put big dent in them, don't we? Oh, Eric, Michelle's been on Eric T. Hill. Yeah, we make a big dent and we upset them, Sandy. And that is not to be underrated.
We do upset them, especially the funnest ones are when they're in the middle of typing a message to you and you report their account and it goes down.
You can just imagine at the other end, because you see the little dancing sort of, you know, dots, and then it goes. Oh,
especially
it's so
if we
sweet.
send them the hat code first.
But they believe us.
Because I've had a few block me when I send them that hat code, which again is worthless. They're like, you know, get off my Facebook and then block. So,
but can you remember? Can you remember? And we'll go in a second. Can you remember we once joined a group? I can't remember why we joined it. And there was a Nigerian in there helping out as an admin. And he said that we were hackers and we were scammers because we sent a hack code and it takes down profiles. And we said, well, how do you know? Because you've got to have been scamming to get our code. Oh, we heard about it. You just heard about it.
Yes, they do.
But they believe it.
And yeah, ScamHaters United does do some good because there are scammers that try to watch our videos, that try to join our groups. They know we are doing something and they want to learn from us. We don't want them to learn. We want our members, followers, you know, men, women, we want them to learn. We do not want the scammers to learn.
No, we want to empower the people that need to have that power. And, you know, we want to keep the scammers out and they can try what they like. We can't stop them. You know, scammers are scum, basically. They're the lowest form of human life. We can't do anything about that because they're sat in a protected, corrupt world where we can't touch them. And we'll do what we can. And I think we do a lot.
We do what we can.
We just said there about we do on IG. I can't even think of the amount of Instagram profiles that we get down just because I don't break it up, Joe. So I you know, me say, I know how many I send in the email, but I might try it one time. Yeah, I don't know that the breakdown to that with Facebook and Instagram, but how many Instagram accounts must we get down on it?
Well, just
a daily, weekly basis?
Instagram is better than Facebook. So Instagram, we do get a lot, and we do have some fantastic ladies that are power reporters, and we get a lot taken down on Instagram too, and that is satisfying as well.
And they tend to be a little bit quicker on Instagram, aren't they? You know, you can put it in and it more or less just, you know, anything between a second and 2 minutes later, it can go down.